Okay, welcome back everybody. Day 3 now here in the north. Today we are starting our journey in Húsavík. Many of you may remember this place from the Eurovision movie, which came out on Netflix just a little while back. So we're going to have a quick look around here before setting off to Ásbyrgi, a really beautiful natural forest in the northeast here. And this is the area where apparently Odin's horse left a very nice horseshoe imprint in the earth. So we're going to go check that out right now.
Starting off our day driving along the northern half of the Diamond Circle, we made our first stop at Húsavík to grab a coffee and take a quick stroll around town. Known for its whale watching, Húsavík is one of the best places in the country to come see these majestic giants, as many different species frequently enter the bay here. As mentioned before, the Netflix Eurovision movie was filmed here, and you'll find plenty of references to it throughout the town. And while we were here, we had to check out the iconic church in the center of town. Designed after Swiss chalets, apparently, it is far more colorful and ornate than many of the other churches in Iceland. And this place also houses an intricately carved Bible right in front of the altar. Pretty cool. After our short stroll around Húsavík, we stopped briefly at an eider duck nesting area that also had one of those vibrant orange lighthouses stationed on the edge of the cliffs. Just before heading down to the little cove at the base of the cliffs, there is an abandoned structure which looks to be an old fishing refuge. I guess if the weather got a little bit too wild. Now, down at sea level you'll find heaps of driftwood, as well as other sea creatures that have washed up on the shore, not to mention the copious amounts of kelp and other seaweeds just lying here for the taking. Now, I'm pretty sure you can eat this stuff, so if it is possible, then let me know in the comments below. Back up top we reach the eider duck nesting area and the location of the orange lighthouse. There are also some huge mushrooms up here. We didn't eat them, but yeah, let us know in the comments if they are in fact edible. They look kind of tasty. Ordinarily, public access to this place is banned from the months of April until August due to the harvesting of eider duck down, as it is highly regulated and also extremely valuable. So I'm going to pop a bit of info in the description about these guys, and I'll explain a little bit more in a future video. Next up is the one I've been waiting for all autumn, Ásbyrgi. We were hoping to catch the trees here in the forest, fully decked out in their oranges, reds and yellows, but it appears the storm that passed through only 4 days earlier seems to have stripped the trees of all their leaves. Well, most of them at least. Regardless, there were still some amazing autumnal colours to be found here, and I gotta say, Ásbyrgi was probably the highlight of the trip to the north. Having travelled here in the summer months while it's lush and green, it's definitely worth a visit, but I would have to say that autumn is the best time to come here. Strolling along the many leaf-littered pathways will take you to a few viewpoints situated around a large pond at the edge of Sleipnir's hoofprint. We were extremely lucky to have no wind whatsoever while we were here, and the tranquility of this place cannot be understated. And I can now understand why the Huldufolk and elves call Ásbyrgi their capital. Setting off from the pond along another pathway will take you to a higher vantage point, right by the edge of the cliffs, overlooking the pond and the forest below. Before I forget to mention it, there are numerous hiking trails all over this area, around the canyon and up to the island found at the end of Sleipnir's hoofprint. You can find more information about them at the information center found at the beginning of the drive-in, and I'll pop a link in the description as well. Leaving from this viewpoint, we continued back along another trail through a slightly more forested area, checking out and eating a lot of blueberries along the way. With daylight running low, we had to make a move to our next port of call, Dettifoss. Said to be Europe's most powerful waterfall, it is fed by Jökulsá á Fjöllum. I'll write that on screen, I think. Anyway, this is a major river flowing out from Europe's largest glacier, Vatnajökull. If you remember the opening scene to the movie Prometheus, it was filmed right here on the west side of the waterfall. The drive to the waterfall can take a bit of time owing to the fact that the gravel road has a lot of potholes and it's a little bit difficult to avoid them at times. But upon reaching the car park, it's only a short 10-minute walk until you reach the edge of the waterfall and you can do your own Prometheus reenactment. The waterfall is not the only thing to check out here. The canyon that the waterfall flows into is just as good. I could have sworn we were on another planet here due to the lack of vegetation and the sheer grey rock walls and basalt columns that line this massive canyon. I think I need to come back here during the daytime and get a little bit more drone footage.
Okay, welcome back everybody. Day 4 now here in the north, starting our trip off with Goðafoss. We visited this in a previous episode in the winter time, and if you remember that, it was fully covered in snow, but now it's quite nice to be out here seeing it in all the beautiful autumnal colours. So from here we're going to be heading out to Mývatn, checking out the area there, probably having a dip in the nature baths, but we'll see where the day takes us, so let's go.
With the weather not looking the best, we decided to complete the southern half of the Diamond Circle this day, with our first stop being Goðafoss. Not much has changed here since our last visit in winter, apart from the number of tourists that are currently visiting. We arrived right before a busload of cruise ship passengers appeared, so we had to be quick with what we shot in the area. And unfortunately no drone footage this time, as there was a little bit too much rain. The next place we stopped at was Mývatn. You may remember us skiing around the frozen lake in a previous video, which I'll pop a link up to in the top corner. We parked at the southeastern side of the lake and took a short stroll around a marked trail that leads through some of the mossy fields and towards a gorgeous forested island and some remarkable rock structures. Can't Can't forget to mention the cute little sheep here grazing by the lake. Overall, quite an easy walk to complete, but I kind of wish we could have stayed a little bit longer around the Mývatn area, as there are still quite a few more sights to behold. The poor weather was closing in, so we had to make our way to our next stop. No trip to the north is complete without stopping at Hverir, another one of my favorite geothermal sites in Iceland. We spent a lot more time here in a previous video, and if you want to check that out, I'll also pop a link to that up in the top. Now, just like Goðafoss, not much had changed other than, well, less snow and more tourists. Still, it's great fun to walk around this geothermically active spot, especially on cold, rainy days like this one, because the steam rising from the earth seems to be much more voluminous in the crisp air. Not to be missed. The weather wasn't improving, so we made one final stop at Grjótagjá, a small cave with a hidden hot spring inside. Unfortunately, bathing here is prohibited, as the volcanic system that heats this body of water is very unpredictable and can cause the water to boil without warning. The rain inevitably caught up with us, so we ended our day at the Mývatn Nature Baths, a smaller and less touristy version of the Blue Lagoon, also a must-see in this area. That's all from this episode. Stay tuned for some highlights now of our final days up in the north. As always, thanks for watching, and don't forget to check out vividiceland.is for all your glacier hiking and private tour needs with us here in Iceland. But until then, we'll see you in the next episode.